and causing building.
The news with Katrina Smith.
Welcome and good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday, June 22nd. I'm Katrina Smith. We are seeing widespread power outages due to the storm that blew through the region overnight. Tragic and utter devastation for many. Trees are uprooted, roofs have been blown off or have collapsed roofs. Trees are downed on buildings. Many roads in the region are impassable. Emergency crews, first responders, law enforcement, and utility companies are out in full force at this hour getting those roads cleared out. If you can stay in, you are urged to do so. Let's take a look at those power outages just by number here. Oneida County alone seeing more than 34,000 people without power. That is a huge chunk of the entire population that's served by National Grid. So again, Oneida County seeing the most power outages, Madison County with over 11,000 outages, Herkimer County with about 5,000 outages, and that number is likely higher because we are not adding the municipal power sources that serve those areas as well. Madison County got over 11,000 without power. Jefferson and Lewis County also seeing power outages. Flood warnings are in effect for much of the region. Take a look at this photo out of Canastota. A significant portion of Main Street, as well as several side streets in Canastota, are closed this morning due to flooding from the overnight storms. Canastota Creek, which runs north-south through the village, has overflowed and flooded residential properties along its banks. Multiple families are left out of their homes due to this flooding, a really serious situation there. Madison County has issued a travel advisory. No unnecessary travel for Madison County, and that is until noon today due to the ongoing cleanup and the risk of flash flooding as creek levels continue to rise. Now, the National Weather Service has upgraded to a flash flood emergency for all of Shenango County this morning. Let's get right over to the Weather Center with meteorologist James DeFazio on all of that. You had a treacherous ride in this morning as well.
I had to do a couple turnarounds to get my way up to here, coming in from East Utica, just making it up to Deerfield. Plenty of trees down in Frankfort, Deerfield, Schuyler, so sure. Be careful. If you don't have to travel, don't this morning. But I want to get right into this because this is actually a life-threatening situation, and I don't use those words lightly. I hopefully don't have to use those words anytime soon. But this is a life-threatening situation. A flash flood emergency has been issued. We have 10 people in the city of Shenango currently stranded within the floodwaters. Almost every creek and stream within Shenango County has or is about to exceed its banks. Widespread flooding occurring across Shenango County. We're seeing flash flood warnings from central Oneida County all the way southward through central New York, but the worst of which is going to occur from now through the mid-afternoon across Shenango County. And again, life-saving measures are underway across those areas. If you can avoid Shenango County, please do so at all costs. That's why it's highlighted there in yellow. Everywhere else in red underneath the flash flood warning, everything that is circled in black is currently experiencing flash flooding. Flash flooding is imminent. We're going to continue to see rounds of showers through the morning hours and into the beginning of the afternoon before we fully dry out, and then heat and humidity arrive in full force for this evening and for the beginning of next week. Monday and Tuesday, we're starting the week with highs in the mid-90s with heat indexes all the way up above 100 degrees. Taking a look at this heavy rain that's working through the southern tier, you can see this heavy rain that just worked through Shenango County that triggered this flash flood emergency. There's a lot of lightning in these storms down to the south. If you're traveling south of Utica, just keep an eye on that. There's plenty of convection within these storms, within that heavy rain. Downtown Utica, much calmer weather, 69 degrees and cloudy in Rome with a 67-degree dew point, very humid conditions. Coming up, we're going to take a look at when these showers come to an end today, as well as when these warnings look to expire. Katrina?
Thank you so much, James. Several roads are closed in the Trenton and Barneveld areas as well. A portion of Route 365 in Holland-Patton is closed this morning. Mapledale at Route 12 is closed this morning, and Route 28 is closed at Route 12 and 365 heading toward Poland. This video shot just this morning by our crews up in Trenton and Barneveld area. A lot of damage as well in Clark Mills, Westmoreland, and Kirkland. We have photos sent in by a viewer, Deborah Paternoster. Take a look at these pictures. A tree down across a roadway here. You can see quite a bit of debris in the roadway, which is the case across the region. Several viewers have reported entire trees uprooted overnight, like this one from the storm. In fact, a viewer from Lee reporting an entire line of trees, large trees, uprooted on his property. These are not small trees. Power lines down as well. We're hearing reports of roofs collapsed, trees on roofs. In fact, emergency crews were heading into a trailer park in Clark Mills early this morning, going door to door, checking on residents there. Here's another look at trees down. Again, this is the story for many residents around the region. More photos, these ones in Westmoreland. Take a look at this. Trees down in yards, debris on the roadway there. A pole down here in Westmoreland. A farm wagon blown over by the wind and rain here. A huge tree uprooted, and of course you can see it's on power lines there. You just want to be really careful if you don't have to leave the house this morning. If you can stay in, you really want to do that. Again, Madison County, no unnecessary travel. We've heard reports this morning about a transformer fire, several of them across the region.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Sunday morning. Most of us had an early wake-up call this morning between 4 and 5 a.m. Very severe storms rolled through Oneida County, and many of us saw plenty of damage. Heavy rain, strong winds, some hail across central Oneida County. Take a look at downtown Utica right now, where things have calmed down a little bit. Temperatures are in the upper 60s right now. Mostly cloudy skies with some light rain showers. Light rain is going to continue through the morning into the first few hours of the afternoon before we fully dry out for the second half of the day today. Taking a look at your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, we have a lot to talk about on here. The red polygons, the red zones that are on here are all flash flood warnings. The ones that are circled in black are circled in black because they're indicating that flash flooding has been observed, it has been recorded. Most importantly though, this yellow box down here, this in Shenango County, currently underneath a flash flood emergency, which is a potentially dangerous situation. It means that there are currently life-saving measures underway. In Shenango County right now, where they've seen incredibly heavy rainfall over the last several hours, this flash flood emergency is in effect until 2:45 p.m. There's currently about 10 people trapped in a car in Shenango that are being rescued as we speak. Please avoid travel across all of central New York, but especially Shenango County if you can, as the day or throughout the morning and into the day. There's a lot of damage to be picked up. Unfortunately, this afternoon we will get a chance to clean up a little bit. We're going to be dealing with showers and storms through the beginning of the day today, but that heat and humidity, it's already worked into the west, and it's going to be working into central New York later this afternoon and evening. These flash flood warnings gradually expire as the morning progresses. The one that hangs on the longest, again, is this flash flood emergency for Shenango County, primarily the Shenango River in Shenango County, and this is in effect until 2:45 p.m. And again, that is a potentially dangerous situation, a life-threatening situation, and I hope I don't have to use those words anytime soon or hopefully ever again. This heat and humidity comes in full force. A heat advisory goes into effect at noon today as temperatures really begin to heat up this afternoon. Heat and humidity arrive this afternoon and evening and settle in for 3 consecutive days. Highs in the mid-90s the next 2 days, with heat indexes, the feel-like temperature being well over 100 degrees. Scattered showers and storms continue this morning and early afternoon. This afternoon, an isolated shower absolutely possible, but most of us are dry this afternoon and evening. We'll be continuing to keep an eye on that and see how quickly these storms move off to our south. As we head into Monday morning, though, we fully and entirely region-wide dry out but with very warm weather. We start the morning in the mid to upper 70s. In the morning hours, 10:30 a.m., 87 degrees in Utica. By 5 p.m., yes, that's a 96 degrees showing up on SkyCast there. High is going to be right around 95 degrees on Monday. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, we're in alert day through midday today due to these severe storms and the ongoing flooding that we're seeing. Monday and Tuesday, dual alert days for the heat and humidity, highs into the mid-90s. Showers and storms Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Summer doesn't look to be going anywhere, despite the slight downtick in temperatures at the end of the 7-day forecast there. 80s make their return. Summer is here to stay. No extended cold stretch in the forecast. And I'm bringing this up because the forecast today calls for a high of 90 degrees. Can we hit 90 today? Because I'm pretty confident that we're going to hit 90 the next 2 days. If we hit 90 today, we will actually qualify for this being an official heat wave, because the National Weather Service and the American Meteorological Society defined it as 3 consecutive days of 90 degrees Fahrenheit high temperatures or higher.
Sure thing. And that's the serious issue here as well, because with those high temperatures and the power out, you're going to see you see the power outages, and you're going to just want to, if you can, check on your neighbors. We're telling you stay off the roads, and be safe. But throughout the day, as those temperatures rise, it is going to be a situation where people are getting uncomfortable in their homes, whether it's a tree down and water coming in or those high temperatures. Yep. All right, so stay safe there as well. Taking a look at the Nexus cam, facing the Wynn Hospital in Utica early this morning. Just take a look at that for a second. This is around 3 o'clock in the morning, going toward the 4 o'clock hour. You can see the lights shaking and that just sheet of rain move into the region so quickly, and that is that same system that is just causing this widespread damage throughout the region. Coming up, more storm damage to the north of us. And as you see, road crews are out cleaning it up as quickly as possible. But really, it is just rapid fire everywhere. So you want to give them a break and stay in if you can. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us for another half hour of News Channel 2 Weekend today. I'm Katrina Smith. Get you right over to the Weather Center now with meteorologist James DeFazio, because there is so much going on. Yes. So much has already happened, but there is still a lot unfolding in the weather department today.
Yes, and let's get right to what is the most pressing. This is the most imminent. We have a potentially dangerous situation, I should say a particularly dangerous situation issued by the National Weather Service. This is a flash flood emergency in effect for Chenango County, and this is for all of Chenango County until 5 p.m. this evening. And this is because Chenango County saw a lot of heavy rain this morning. Most of central New York, from central Oneida County and points southward across central New York, is underneath a flash flood warning. However, the worst of which is occurring across Chenango County and will continue to occur throughout the rest of the morning into the beginning of the afternoon hours. That flash flood emergency is highlighted by that yellow box there. The red zones here that are outlined in black are indicating that flooding is already occurring within these flash flood warnings. So there is plenty of flash flooding occurring across central New York. The other story is, once this rain does end, the heat and humidity begins to work in, and it moves in with force. We have highs near 90 degrees today, but we're well up into the 90s on Monday and Tuesday with heat indexes and the feel-like temperatures above 100 degrees. Take a look at this 3-hour loop over Chenango County to give you an idea of why they're dealing with a flash flood emergency. Straight up 3 to 4 inch per hour rainfall rates for about 3 consecutive hours. 2 to 6 inches of rain measured across portions of Chenango County. An incredibly impressive amount of rain. Still a good amount of lightning working south of the New York border, heading towards Pennsylvania. Partly to mostly cloudy skies right now with temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. We're tracking a slow warm up and a slow dry out. We're going to get a chance to clean up today as the day progresses. We're going to track when that rain comes to an end coming right up. Katrina?
Thank you so much, James. We have some sad news to report this morning. We have just confirmed with the Oneida County Sheriff there is At least one storm-related death in Clark Mills. One child reported dead due to something storm-related in Clark Mills. Also, one adult death in Clark Mills in an unrelated storm incident here. We will continue to check in with the Sheriff's Department and get you updates on the situation there. But again, 2 deaths this morning to report out of Clark Mills. One a child and one is an adult. And we will continue. We have crews out in Clark Mills right now. It's pretty hard hit in Clark Mills, Westmoreland, and also Kirkland. So we will follow up on this throughout the day for you. Trees were down in a trailer park in the town of Schuyler. Take a look at Locust Lane here. This is just about an hour ago. Our crews were on the scene there. You can see large trees down on trailers here. Here's a closer look. You can see the damage to this trailer. Luckily, no one was hurt in this trailer park, but there are reports that emergency responders were checking house by house at another trailer park earlier this morning in Clark Mills. So again, we do have crews there, and we will be following up on this throughout the morning and throughout the day. We have more storm photos, these on Liberty Street in Rome. Take a look at this. This is a tree down in Rome, and I can't stress this enough. You see these huge roots, like these huge trees pulled out of the ground across the region, not just in an isolated area. This is, of course, the cause of a power outage in that area. This again on Liberty Street in Rome. In major breaking news overnight, President Trump...
Miracle Drawing ticket in person, Wednesday, July 2nd at Chenantries from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and be entered to win a Utica basket. They'll be on site accepting cash, check, or credit card. So come get your Children's Miracle Drawing ticket before they're gone.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Sunday morning. We're dealing with the ramifications of some strong storms that moved through the region between 4 and 5 a.m. this morning. And after some wind damage, we're now dealing with some flood warnings. And I want to get right into what is currently a particularly dangerous situation. We have a flash flood emergency in effect right now for all of Shenango County. And this is because major flash flooding is occurring. There is actually water rescues underway in places in the village of Shenango, and we're going to be seeing flash flooding in Shenango County until 5 p.m. this flash flood emergency goes. We still have flash flood warnings for a lot of central New York, from central Oneida County and points southward, all seeing areas of flash flood warnings, and these expire at various hours throughout the day. The one holding on the longest is the Shenango County flash flood emergency, and that is a dangerous situation. Light rain continues to fall with temperatures in the upper 60s in downtown Utica. Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. The red flash flood zones here that are outlined in black are indicating that flash flooding is already occurring. So much of central New York seeing and already experiencing flooding this morning. And you can see, as I put a 6-hour loop on here, just how much rainfall fell over the last 6 hours. So much. 2-inch per hour rainfall rates moved through central Oneida County, then southern Oneida County, and really sat over Shenango County for the longest period of time. We're in the 60s this morning, but things changed this afternoon. That heat and humidity is on the way. We climb into the upper 80s later this afternoon, and then as we head into next week, really dangerously warm temperatures. We have a heat advisory that goes into effect this afternoon, and highs on Monday and Tuesday are going to be in the mid-90s. And with temperatures in the mid-90s and 100% humidity, we're going to be seeing heat index values in excess of 100 degrees. The feel-like temperatures throughout the afternoon each day is going to be between 100 and 105 degrees. Incredibly dangerously warm weather. Showers and thunderstorms continue scattered through the morning. An isolated storm is possible this evening. However, most of us are dry. We warm up into the upper 80s before we dry down, before we cool down tonight down into the mid-70s. Doesn't cool off very much. It's a very warm night. Low to mid-70s for lows before Monday morning. Very warm start to the day. We're in the upper 80s at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we climb well up into the mid, maybe even upper 90s for some locations on Monday afternoon with wide widespread sunshine. A look at your 7-day forecast. We're in alert mode. We stay in alert mode until the middle of the day today, until this flooding subsides, and then an alert day begins again as we head into Monday. We'll have dual alert days to begin the week due to the extreme heat and humidity. Heat advisories remain in effect for Monday and Tuesday. Highs around 95. Showers and storms Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Fortunately, looking at the long-range pattern, summer doesn't look to be going anywhere, despite the slight decrease in temperature as we approach next weekend. 80-degree weather looks to be here to stay. And this is a little test of astronomy knowledge here, and this is something I haven't been able to ask.
The earliest sun, that's what I was saying.
He
Before
got
you
it.
got it,
Our director's just so good.
All right, yeah, it was.
He got me again. So yes, on June 14th and on June 15th, the sun rose right around 5:20 a.m. and around that stretch, that is for whatever reason. There is a very scientific reason, but it's a little long to explain right now. The earliest sunrise occurs before the solstice. The latest sunset occurs after the solstice. So our latest sunset is going to occur in about 4 to 5 days.
Well, thank goodness, because I thought we were at the longest day and we were downhill from there.
It's just total time in the middle.
This is better.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, James. We'll be back after this.
With Ben Kinney.
Good evening. A state of emergency has been declared by the governor after a line of early morning severe thunderstorms tore through central New York this morning, dropping a tornado in Clark Mills, leaving behind a path of destruction. That's where the storms turned deadly. 6-year-old twins and a 51-year-old woman were killed by falling trees. News Channel 2's Jason Powell starts our team coverage live tonight in Clark Mills. Jason, good evening.
Ben, good evening. It's one of the more difficult stories I've had to cover for sure. 3 people killed in a tornado, which was just confirmed by the National Weather Service within the last hour. It all touched down right here in Clark Mills. Now, I want to tell you what happened. Oneida County Sheriff's confirmed that 50-year-old Shelly Johnson was killed when a tree came down on top of her home on Mill Stream Court. Just around the corner, Emily and Kenny Bison, twin 6-year-old sisters, were killed when the tree came down right through their home. We're back here live now. This is the home where the girls and their mom lived. Just a gut-wrenching day for family and friends and first responders. I spoke with a neighbor who helped the twins' mom get out of the home.
I look out and you can just see it. It looked like it was a whipping, like the rain was coming down circular. So I woke up my fiance and I was like, it's crazy out there. We got to go down, make sure nothing fell. We go downstairs, we look out our first window, and all we see are leaves. A tree has fallen completely against the window, and all we saw was a tree silhouetted through their house entirely. You could see it going in one side and out the other. So at that point, me and my fiance, we ran outside, at which point Rick, who he's a volunteer firefighter as well, was already helping. So I just started taking his command. We helped get the mother out. We got her from the second story, the one next to the air conditioner. We got her out from there and down a tree to get her out, and then the rest of the fire department showed up, and that's kind of when I stepped back.
The tree slicing the home in half, killing the identical twin sisters inside while they slept. About 2 blocks away, a tree crushed the back end of a home on Millstream Court. Oneida County Sheriffs say Shelly Johnson was killed inside.
First and foremost, our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims and their families, along with the first responders who were on these calls. Obviously, we again, just a difficult thing.
The damage widespread across Clark Mills. Oneida County Sheriffs and State Police assisting Kirkland Police, along with the Clark Mills Fire Department, several other fire departments, and county services all responding. The cleanup continues. And Sheriff Mashel has a word of warning for those just looking to see what they can see.
But most importantly, for this specific incident right here, we just ask that everyone please stay out of the area. Let these first responders, firefighters and law enforcement do their job. Please stay out of the area. Watch TV instead. You'll get your information that you need from there.
And we're back here now live. Clinton schools, by the way, closed tomorrow. On Tuesday, though, the schools are making counselors available for students who may need assistance after this tragic loss. Crews doing a great job around town trying to get things cleaned up, getting the power back on as well. I want to bring in now Riley Jones. Come on in, Riley. Riley was our first reporter on the scene all day long, and you've been here all day, and what just devastation we're seeing in the area.
Thanks, Jason. Truly shocking driving around earlier today with devastating weather damage all across central New York, except this time with Clark Mills possibly getting hit worse than anywhere else. We spoke with representatives from the National Weather Service who explained that storms like this need to be taken seriously. Arriving in Clark Mills this morning looked like driving through a war zone. The National Weather Service arriving on scene, beginning their work surveying the area following the destruction, emphasizing the importance of listening to the issued warnings.
We do not issue a tornado warning unless we are seeing signs of strong rotation within a storm. It doesn't mean that we've confirmed anything, but that the storm is taking on a strong enough look to it to where it's not just a thunderstorm.
Cleanup across the community is expected to take weeks to finish. Sunday's damage feeling all too familiar following last year's tornado in Rome.
In terms of the magnitude of trees and how violent it was, this reminds me of exactly what it was walking through downtown Rome last year. The thing that's more stark to me is that we have similar situation in North Utica, in Barneveld, here in Clark Mills, a couple places in Utica. So it's actually way more widespread than I felt like it was last year.
The National Weather Service urging people to listen to the warnings and use caution.
When we do these surveys, National Weather Service conducts surveys, and sometimes we'll, determine, okay, it was a tornado. Sometimes we can't call it a tornado, it's straight line winds. And then there's this reaction that's like, oh, it was just wind? When that can be much more damaging.
The National Weather Service confirmed on Sunday that the storm will be classified as a tornado, becoming the latest on a long line of tornadoes damaging central New York throughout recent years. I wanted to say that to anyone who's currently suffering or struggling following these storms that took place early this morning, there is air conditioning, snacks, and other available goods that will all be available at Clinton United Methodist Church on Utica Road. They will be open until 8 o'clock tonight, and then they're opening right back up at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, or they'll be open all day until 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me, Riley. Great job today. Just a lot to deal with here, Ben, and this is going to be a cleanup for, as you heard, weeks moving here forward. But reporting live now for Riley, I'm Jason Powell. Back to you.
All right. Thank you both very much. Two people were also seriously not limited to just Clark Mills, with the storms carving a path of downed trees and power lines that stretch from Alexandria Bay all the way down to Unadilla. In Herkimer County, the strong winds brought trees down onto two trailers on Locust Lane. Thankfully, no injuries reported there. In Rome, winds bringing down trees and power lines along North James Street, with a massive oak tree completely uprooted and blocking the road on West Liberty Street for several hours. Damage was also reported along West Locust, West Linden, and Turin Road as well. The Rome City School District has announced they will be closed tomorrow as well because of power outages that are continuing along with the excessive heat. The district says the school's board meeting will still be held as scheduled. Storms also causing issues in Taberg. Take a look here. This is right near the Taberg Fire Department, where trees bringing down power lines and blocking roads for several hours. Crews there still working to get things cleaned up tonight. In Barneveld, the storm took down dozens of trees and power lines. Route 365, Route 12, Route 28, all closed for several hours after they were blocked by trees and power lines. Crews continuing to work up there to clean up debris. In the city of Utica, the winds brought down several trees and tree limbs around Rucker Park, some narrowly missing the historic mansions there. There was some minor damage to parts of the park itself as a result. Let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist James DeFazio is there on what's been an absolutely, I don't even have words for, sobering is actually exactly how I would put it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
This has been confirmed now that we did have a tornado in Clark Mills last night, right around 3:45, 3:50 a.m. And Bill's gonna actually be breaking this down a little bit more in detail coming up. But we can confirm this did touch down as an EF1 in Clark Mills. The storm survey is going to be completed by 10 p.m. by the National Weather Service, and then we will have more information in terms of the damage path, the exact direction of the path, as well as maximum width of the tornado. We still have 2 active flood warnings, one for the Shenango River in northern Shenango County, as well as the Oneida Creek in Oneida. I can fortunately report both of these have crested. The Shenango River gauge in Shenango, as well as the Oneida Creek gauge in Oneida, have both crested within the last 30 minutes. There is still major flooding ongoing at those locations. Dry weather on your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, and that continues into the overnight and into the beginning of your work week. Partly to mostly sunny skies across downtown Utica with dry conditions. Again, we're going to continue to see very, very warm tropical weather where dew points are all the way up into the mid-70s. Coming up, we're going to take a look at just how warm things are going to get this weekend, just why those schools might be closed. Ben?
All right, James, thank you very much. Power outages continuing across the area as well tonight. Here are the latest numbers. In Oneida County, a total of 23,472 residents remain in the dark at this hour. In Herkimer County, 3,532. And Otsego County, only 103 residents are without power. And as James mentioned, the storm's also bringing relentless heavy rains, causing flooding issues around the area. In Kirkland, the Oriskany Creek jumped its banks earlier today, leading to Route 5 having to be shut down. As of last check, it remains closed because of the flooding. The creek also jumped its banks further upstream in the village of Clinton, flooding some roads in the village. No major damage reported from that flooding. Still to come on News Channel 2 Weekend, Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis joins us now to take a look at exactly what happened last night. And Bill, this is something that for a lot of people, we've never seen something like this before.
Yeah, this is sadly going to go into history books. This is a very different type of storm. It's called an MCS, a mesoscale convective system. What's really unfortunate about something like this is that it peaks after midnight. A lot of people are in bed, and we're in bed last night when this thing was ripping. And it's the nature of the storm. It typically produces a lot of lightning, but when you get into the more intense versions of MCSs, they can produce straight line winds, and some of them can produce tornadoes. And they're very hard to pick out on the radar. We did not have a radar confirmed tornado from this. A lot of times we can see the radar pick up debris, and we can confirm these in real time. We weren't able to do that last night just because of the nature of this. This type of tornado likely to go down as something called a QLCS tornado. So it forms along this line, and it was right about here. Hard to pick out on the radar, but there was a lot of circulation taking place with that. And the other thing is, Ben, just how fast this happened. These storms are moving 70 miles an hour.
I mean, we saw it come over the Canadian border, and Environment Canada was warning, I think it was 60 mile per hour speeds. And then it just picked up once it got over the Tug Hill. Does that have anything to do with it?
The nature of the storm ended up peaking at 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. And the other thing, too, is this was like a pendulum as it swung. The right-hand side was moving very, very quickly. The left-hand side was moving very slowly. This side created a lot of wind damage. This side created a lot of flooding. I mean, it was just a very unfortunate setup. We ended up getting both damaging winds, the tornado touchdown, and all the flooding all through this event. The other thing I want to touch upon is this idea of derecho. We've heard this been brought up a lot. The answer is this is not going to be considered a derecho because even though there was strong winds, it doesn't quite meet the textbook definition of this. The winds did not be over 75 miles an hour for a damage path of over 250 miles. This is not to minimize what happened. No. It's just the way that meteorologists classify these types of systems.
And, you know, you think of a derecho around here. I think the last one, you know, if you want to call it one, it's still up in the air, 2020 was one. But the one of most notable, 98.
98, yeah, that was a bad one. And that one, again, 75 mile an hour winds. Again, the amount of destruction that happens with them is unbelievable. And even last night, again, not to minimize this, if it just happens in the wrong spot at the wrong time, it could be incredibly destructive. And just one other thing too, that EF1 tornado, again, we saw a lot of straight line winds that were 50, 60, 70 miles an hour.
And they mentioned that the tornado damage was embedded within straight line wind damage.
Yeah, and so this is the one that was confirmed. Again, just because your damage wasn't considered a tornado doesn't minimize the severity of it.
All right, Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis, great job to you and your crew this morning, and we'll be back right after this.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Sunday evening. We're continuing to dry out after substantially heavy rain this morning. Strong storms moved in the early morning hours, and then heavy rainfall continued through the morning hours. And we are still seeing some areas that are seeing some flooding issues at this time. 2 flood warnings remain: the Shenango River in Shenango County, as well as the Oneida Creek in Oneida. And both of those are right near cresting. They have just passed crest stage. We'll see if they stay past crest. We want to see it continue to decrease. We have one now reading of the gauge of decrease in water level. Temperatures gotten up into the low 80s today, partly to mostly sunny skies across downtown Utica, and much needed dry conditions have settled in. And we definitely are going to need these next 2 days of dry weather. Heat and humidity return in force, where we're going to see humidity already tonight. It has already arrived. The heat arrives tomorrow. Our next chance for storms arrives late on Tuesday. We're keeping an eye out for that. As of now, we're more likely to be dry than not, but with the type of environment that we have, the storm threat is there. It's not zero. Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. All is quiet, dry weather across the area. Much needed opportunity for us to dry out. Very warm weather across the state, temperatures in the low to mid 80s. And we're going to see a big change in temperature and air mass. The air mass has changed. We have dew points up into the mid to upper 70s, which is considered tropical. It's about as high as dew points get around here. It's very, very warm. And it's an incredibly high dew point. And we're going to see those dew points continue tomorrow, but with temperatures very warm as well. Heat index tomorrow afternoon right around 97, 98 degrees, close to 100 degrees tomorrow afternoon for the heat index, and that is why some of those schools are closed tomorrow afternoon. Highs on Monday and Tuesday, both going to be in the mid-90s, right around 95 degrees. The heat index both days right around 100 degrees. Tonight, dry weather continues. It continues to build in. We have a very warm night. Lows tonight only into the low to mid 70s. It's a good day for the air conditioner. We're into the mid 80s by mid-morning. It's a very warm day. By the afternoon, we're up into the mid 90s, 96 degrees at 5 p.m. Doesn't really cool off much Monday night. Lows Monday night yet again only down into the 70s. And another extremely warm day on Tuesday, right back up into the mid-90s. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, we start the week with dual alert days, back-to-back days of highs in the mid-90s with widespread sunshine. Showers and storms return late on Tuesday and for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Summer makes its return for the end of the week. We do not lose our 80-degree weather. Despite a couple days in the 70s, 80s make their return.
And James, I'm just coming in here. Just coming through from the National Weather Service in Binghamton, now confirmed a tornado with peak winds of 105 miles per hour touching down. The survey is continuing right now, but that has been upped to 105 miles per hour. This information just coming from the National Weather Service in Binghamton about 2 minutes ago. So that's the latest update we have on this tornado survey as it continues.
So we're on the high end of EF1.
Yeah, we are. All right, we'll be back after this.
News with Ben Kinney.
Good evening. We'll have continuing team coverage of this morning's tornado in Clark Mills in just a moment. But first, Utica police are investigating how a 6-year-old girl walked out of her Hammond Avenue home early this morning and ended up drowning in the pool. It's your top story. Police were first called to investigate a missing child in the 1100 block of Hammond Ave around 7:40 this morning. Doorbell camera footage showed the girl walking down the driveway around 5:40 this morning. As officers began to look for the child, they found her unresponsive in the home's pool. They immediately started CPR on the child. 2 twin sisters, just 6 years old, are dead after a line of severe weather barreled through the region early this morning. The National Weather Service confirming just about an hour ago that it was an EF1 tornado with wind speeds of 110 miles per hour on the ground for over 2 miles. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office confirms that 50-year-old Shelly Johnson was killed when a tree came down on top of her home on Millstream Court. Just around the corner, Emily and Kenny Bisson, twin sisters, 6 years old, were killed when the tree came right down through their home. According to a GoFundMe page posted to help their mother with costs, the twin sisters were known throughout Clark Mills and the greater Mohawk Valley community and would always bring a smile to that community. A community now in mourning. Here's News Channel 2's Jason Powlis.
I look out and you can just see it. It looked like it was a whipping, like the rain was coming down circular. So I woke up my fiance and I was like, it's crazy out there. We got to go down, make sure nothing fell. We go downstairs, we look out our first window, and all we see are leaves. A tree has fallen completely against the window, and all we saw was a tree silhouetted through their house entirely. You could see it going in one side and out the other. So at that point, me and my fiance, we ran outside, at which point Rick, who he's a volunteer firefighter as well, was already helping. So I just started taking his command. We helped get the mother out. We got her from the second story, the one next to the air conditioner. We got her out from there and down a tree to get her out. And then the rest of the fire department showed up, and that's kind of when I stepped back.
The tree slicing the home in half, killing the identical twin sisters inside while they slept. About 2 blocks away, a tree crushed the back end of a home on Millstream Court. Oneida County sheriffs say Shelly Johnson was killed inside.
First and foremost, our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims and their families, along with the first responders who were on these calls. Obviously, we again, just a difficult thing.
The damage widespread across Clark Mills. Oneida County Sheriffs and State Police assisting Kirkland Police, along with the Clark Mills Fire Department, several other fire departments, and county services all responding. The cleanup continues, and Sheriff Mashel has a word of warning for those just looking to see what they can see.
But most importantly, for this specific incident right here, we just ask that everyone please stay out of the area. Let these first responders, firefighters and law enforcement do their job. Please stay out of the area. Watch TV instead. You'll get your information that you need from there.
Clinton Central schools are closed on Monday, but on Tuesday, counselors will be there and available for anyone affected by this tragic loss. In Clark Mills, Jason Powlis, News Channel 2.
That GoFundMe page, which has been set up to help the mother of the girls, as of last check, it's raised over $151,000. We have a link to it on our website, WKTV.com. The damage from the storms was not limited to just Clark Mills. The storms carving a path of downed trees and power lines stretching from Alexandria Bay to Unadilla. In Herkimer County, the strong winds brought trees down onto 2 trailers on Locust Lane in Schuyler. Thankfully, no injuries reported here. In Rome, the winds brought down trees and power lines in many parts of the city. This is along North James Street. Short distance away, a massive oak tree was completely uprooted, blocking West Liberty Street for several hours. Damage also reported along West Locust, West Linden Streets as well. The Rome City School District will be closed tomorrow because of the power outages that are continuing. Along with the excessive heat, the district says that the board meeting will still be held as scheduled. The storm's also causing issues in Lee Center. This was near the Lee Center Firehouse. Multiple trees and power lines down all through the area there. Power still working to be restored. In Barneveld, the storm taking down dozens of trees and power lines. Route 365, Route 12, Route 28 all closed for several hours earlier today as crews began the cleanup work there. In the city of Utica, the winds bringing down several trees and tree limbs around Rutgers Park, some of them narrowly missing the historic mansions. There was some minor damage to the park itself as a result. Now for more on the confirmation of that tornado, meteorologist James DeFazio in the Weather Center. And I mean, it's rare we see tornadoes in central New York to begin with.
Let's just put it for what it is. This is the second deadliest tornado that's ever happened in central New York. Second only to the Smithfield tornado back in Madison County, which happened about a decade ago, where we lost 4 lives. So unfortunately, this is incredibly sad, incredibly sobering that this resulted in 3 fatalities. And what happened was we had a tornado form just to the north of Clark Mills, and it moved a little bit actual southwest before it moved back east and actually weakened just north of Clinton. But it was on the ground for over 2 miles, almost 2.5 full miles for a full 5 minutes, and peak winds were 105 miles per hour. That's only 6 miles per hour away from being an EF2 tornado. We're still dealing with a couple areas of flooding, flood warnings for Shenango, for the Shenango River in northern Shenango, as well as the Oneida Creek in Oneida. The Oneida Creek has crested, the Shenango River has not yet crested. We're continuing to keep an eye on those river gauges. Cloudy, primarily calm and cloudy and dry in downtown Utica, and it's going to stay that way into the overnight and into the day tomorrow. Dry weather continues overnight tonight. Dry weather on your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. And no, these are not temperatures. These are the current dew points. Yes, the dew point in Syracuse right now at 78 degrees. At Rome, the dew point at 75 degrees. Temperatures across the area basically mirroring the dew point. Very warm weather, mid 70s to upper 70s. Some of the rural areas in the lower 70s. Coming up, we're going to take a look at just how warm we're going to get as we head into the beginning of this week and start our heat wave. Ben?
All right, James, thank you very much. This morning's dangerous storms originally not labeled as a tornado, something that the National Weather Service changed earlier this evening. However, meteorologists are saying that in cases of extreme weather, it doesn't always matter what it's called, and safety should always be a concern. News Channel 2's Riley Jones caught up with storm surveyors from the National Weather Service in Binghamton this afternoon.
Arriving in Clark Mills this morning looked like driving through a war zone. The National Weather Service arriving on scene, beginning their work surveying the area following the destruction, emphasizing the importance of listening to the issued warnings.
We do not issue a tornado warning unless we are seeing signs of strong rotation within the storm. It doesn't mean that we've confirmed anything, but that the storm is taking on a strong enough look to it to where it's not just a thunderstorm.
Cleanup across the community is expected to take weeks to finish. Sunday's damage feeling all too familiar following last year's tornado in Rome.
In terms of the magnitude of trees and how violent it was, this reminds me of exactly what it was walking through downtown Rome last year. The thing that's more stark to me is that we have similar situation in North Utica, in Barneveld, here in Clark Mills, a couple places in Utica. So it's actually way more widespread than I felt like it was last year.
The National Weather Service urging people to listen to the warnings and use caution.
When we do these surveys, National Weather Service conducts surveys, and sometimes we'll, determine, okay, it was a tornado. Sometimes we can't call it a tornado, it's straight line winds. And then there's this reaction that's like, oh, it was just wind? When that can be much more damaging.
Anyone in need of assistance after this morning's storms can come to Clinton's United Methodist Church, where they have air conditioning, Wi-Fi, snacks, and other essentials to help you deal with these trying times. They'll be open tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. In Clinton, I'm Riley Jones with News Channel 2.
Power outages are also continuing across the area tonight. Here are the latest numbers. In Oneida County, a total of 19,768 residents remain in the dark. In Herkimer County, 3,436 residents. Otsego County, only 1 resident without power. Dry ice will also be available to residents affected by the power outages at a few locations in Clark Mills. The fire department will have dry ice and water available at the firehouse starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow. National Grid also will have dry ice available tomorrow from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. That's at the Kirkland Senior Center on Mill Street. You are asked to bring your own cooler to transport the dry ice. Coming up on News Channel 2 Weekend at 11, we'll have the latest on bankruptcy rumors.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Sunday evening. We are in the calm after the storm. We saw some very, very severe storms this morning. A tornado worked through Clark Mills and fell apart just north of Clinton. Many areas saw widespread straight line wind damage. It was a very hectic day in the weather world across central New York, but things have calmed down. These are the remaining things that we're keeping an eye on. 2 flood warnings that we're continuing to watch. The Oneida Creek in Oneida, which has crested, so fortunately that water is receding, but we're keeping an eye on the Shenango River in Shenango County because that has yet to crest. Downtown Utica, primarily calm and dry, and temperatures are warm and very, very humid. Humid to the point where you can see the haze in the sky. Temperatures in the mid-70s, 76 degrees, and the dew points are right around the same level. This much needed dry weather has settled in, and we really need it, where the ground is just so saturated. We are finally getting a chance for the next couple of days for the ground to firm up, have some of those loose trees settle back in. Heat and humidity return in full force tomorrow, unlike they have yet this year. We're underneath a heat advisory for that reason. And the next chance of storms arrives late in the day on Tuesday. Most of Tuesday looks dry. Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. All is quiet and dry out there, and that continues through the night and into the day tomorrow. We're tracking very warm weather. The very warm air mask is going to continue to work in overnight tonight. And take a look at these dew points. We are normally lucky to see temperatures at this level in central New York, and we're at dew points in the mid-70s. This is considered tropical levels. It's very hard for us to get dew points much higher than mid to upper 70s in central New York. It's 76 degrees with cloudy skies in Rome, calm winds, and again, a 75-degree dew point, tropical levels of humidity, very impressive. Reason for some of those school closures tomorrow, as well as the reason for that heat advisory that's in effect through Wednesday afternoon, is the temperature, the feel-like temperature tomorrow, when it gets up to about 90 to 95 degrees with that 100% humidity, it's going to feel like 100 degrees across the Mohawk Valley tomorrow afternoon. Incredibly stifling air. Highs Monday and Tuesday, both days right around 95 degrees. Both days the heat index is going to be right around that 100-degree mark. Tonight, dry weather continues. We don't cool off too much, lows only in the low to mid-70s, and we warm up quickly tomorrow, right through the 80s in the morning. We're right around 90 degrees by midday, and we're in the 90s for the entirety of the afternoon and most of the evening. And that warm weather only continues as we head further into your work week. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast, we have alert days in for Monday and Tuesday due to this extreme heat and humidity, extremely dangerous heat index levels the next 2 days during the afternoons. Again, the heat index temperatures are going to feel like 100 to 105 degrees. Much cooler showers and storms Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Nothing too severe at this time. We're not tracking any severe parameters like we saw today at this time. And then summer makes its return on Sunday. A little bit showery to start the weekend, but dry to end the weekend with warmer weather.